Hey, listener. Welcome to episode number 66 of Listen Up. So let me ask you a question. Have you ever felt like New Year's Eve is not the right time to start a new year? Like there's a different time of the year where you'd be better suited to start the new year? That's what today's episode is about. It's about New Year's Eve for school-aged children, or what I like to call School Year's Eve. So I'm going to share with you a ritual and a tradition that I have been practicing with my kids for years. And this is one of my favorite practices that I have with them. It's the way that we anchor into a new year for them, like for the school year. And it's absolutely beautiful. If you have school-aged children, this episode is for you. If you don't, then what I would ask you lovingly is to please share it with someone who does. Maybe it's with your children because you want them to do this with their grandchildren. Maybe it's with your siblings because you want them to do this with your nieces or nephews, or maybe it's with a friend that you know would benefit from this practice. But please pass this along because for the parent who has school-age children, this tradition is going to rock their world. It's going to be so special. So let's get started. Let me tell you how this came up for me. When I was a kid, and I don't know if this happens to you, but this happened to me. When I was a kid, I never really cared about New Year's Eve because I always felt like if I was going, I was on winter break, if I was going back to school in the same school grade, then it kind of felt like I was still in the same year. So in the formative years of my life, from first grade all the way to 12th grade, and I would even say through college, and I would even say through law school, through all of that time, the year for me ran parallel to school years. New Year's Eve meant nothing to me. It's funny, I don't know if that has something to do with the way that I feel about New Year's Eve today, but even now, I still don't feel on New Year's Eve that I'm ready for a new year. Usually, like I really start launching into a new year like in spring. Winter is not often my time for a new year. Of course, that could change every year and whatever, but it doesn't always feel like prime time for me to celebrate the new year in the middle of winter. So when my kids started going to school, I was very excited about the beginning of their school year because it was a very exciting time for me. Yes, once again, I confirm that I'm a nerd. I love all things school and productivity and personal growth and development, and getting ready for school is all about that, right? Like you get your little pencils, you get your school supplies, you have your uniforms all nice and pressed, your cool, new book bag. It's like this incredible fresh start. There's no fresh start like a new school year fresh start. I would even say that the first day of school, it's like even the smell of that is like a very special, distinct smell, like your first day in your school smell. It's all very exciting. So when my kids started in the school year, I was really excited about making it special for them. So I wanted to invite them to do school supply shopping with me and to get their book bags ready and their uniforms and all this kind of stuff. And I will say that I have boys, so it hits different with boys. It just didn't land the same. They don't have the same enthusiasm and excitement about starting in a school that I have. But nonetheless, I did my best. So then I thought, what if I created a celebration to start the school year, right? Because the book bag and the uniforms and the school supplies isn't landing the same with my kids. So what if the excitement was like a school year's Eve party? And I designed it similar to New Year's Eve. What does that mean? For me, I set up the table really nice, right? Like I put our fine china, I put a nice mantel, a tablecloth. I put books on the table, like to decorate, like little, like there's summer reading books. I'd put them on the table. And then I grabbed 12 grapes because as a Cuban, when we celebrate New Year's Eve, one of our traditions is that you get 12 grapes and at midnight, you eat the 12 grapes and each grape stands for 1 month of the year. And it's supposed to bring you good luck. That's like our Cuban tradition. So I thought, oh, how fun would it be if we simulated the New Year's Eve celebration with grapes? So I would grab like a little martini glass or something and put the 12 grapes in there for my kids. And then we'd cook a special dinner and I'd light a couple candles and we'd have this beautiful dinner. And then came the fun part. I would grab a piece of paper and a pen for each kid, and I would invite them to set intentions for their next school year. And I would say, what is it that you want from this next year that you are excited about, that you want to focus on? What will success look like for you at the end of the year? And I realize now that what I was doing with my kids since back then was teaching them the Live with Intention framework. So the first year, they wrote their intentions down and their little goals for the year. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. But the next year, when I went to do the school year's Eve party again, I had saved all of their intentions in a little Ziploc bag. Now, if you're watching me on YouTube, I'm going to show you the little Ziploc bag. But if you're listening to it on just the audio version, this is as basic as, there's nothing fancy about this at all whatsoever. I literally put the little pieces of paper cut up in a Ziploc bag, and with a Sharpie, I put the year, right? Like 2019 to 2020 school intentions, or 24 to 25 school intentions, right? And I put them in there, and the following year, we sat down for dinner and they got to open up their little envelope and see what they had written the year before. And what was beautiful about that is that they got to look and see how much they had grown, how much they had accomplished, how much they had manifested, what they had brought into their own reality. So I realize now that this was the Live with Intention framework. I was teaching my kids to notice what works, what doesn't work. What do you want to let go in the year before? What do you want to bring forward to the next year? Teaching them to name the next year by setting their intentions and writing down what their intentions were for the next year, and teaching them to nurture that throughout the year, right? Always go back to those intentions for the year. So that is the Live with Intention framework, and it is absolutely the most joyful thing. So I started this practice several years ago, and year after year after year, I have continued this tradition. I also buy them apple cider, like it's called sidra. It's non-alcoholic cider, and they drink the cider. And instead of waiting till midnight to do the midnight countdown with the grapes and all that kind of stuff, I would do it right before their bedtime. So let's say their bedtime was at 9 p.m. At 8:59, we would do like the countdown to 10, 9, 8, 7, all the way to Happy School Year's Eve. And that was the tradition. And now I just have all these years of intentions that we have helped document and preserve and notice over the years the growth and the differences between a little kid and an older kid, and now going into their teenage years, what that looks like. And it's been absolutely beautiful. So for you, I'm thinking about this tradition, and there's three things about this tradition that make it very special. Number one is that you are creating a ritual with your family. It's something that is sacred, that is yours, that you can celebrate and honor and love. Number two, the first year it's a ritual, but every year after that, you're going from making it a ritual to turning it into a tradition, which is a really important thing because once your rituals turn into traditions, they become extraordinarily sacred and memorable, and the repetition of it becomes something that becomes ingrained in them. If you listen to my episode last week on Anchor August, on setting the intention for Anchor August, I talked about this love that I have for tradition and how important it is. But for me, it's been the thing that has allowed me to continue to connect the dots in my life. Traditions and rituals help me anchor in to a life of meaning and to craft a story. It's like writing a narrative and a story that is so beautiful and unique and customized to you. So I just find it to be a beautiful thing. And number 3, you are teaching your kids the power of living with intention. And that not only is it good because it teaches them about rhythms and about reflection and about personal growth, but it is also a reminder that your life is like a book and you are the author of your own book. And it is a reminder that every chapter you have an opportunity to turn the page and start over, write your story, redefine success, revisit your last chapter, and decide how you want the story to continue. I want my kids and I want your kids to know that they are not a victim of their circumstances and that the story is not just being written for them, that they have the power to participate in writing their own story and creating their own story. And every year it could change and it could evolve, but it's all special. It's absolutely beautiful. Hey, listener, I'm taking a quick pause because I have to let you know that I have just opened the doors to the Blissin' Up Hub. This is a 6-month coaching circle where we are taking a deep dive into the frameworks that I've been teaching for the last 6 years with my one-on-one clients, with different groups, and on this podcast. And I am putting it all in one place for you to integrate into your life. We are going to have weekly coaching, seasonal challenges, and a sacred community to put these principles into practice and integrate in real time. I am so excited. We are kicking off this group on August 4th. The link is in the show notes. And now back to the episode. So this is my little tradition with my kids. I'm getting ready to celebrate School Year's Eve this year. And this year for me, it's a little bit different because this year, I have 3 kids in 3 different schools. I've experienced this in the past, but not quite like this year. I have 3 different first days of school, and my son is going to be out for Warrior Week, which is like a retreat that they have for his school when my other kids have their first day of school. So there's a little bit of a change. I'm not, it's not going to be the same thing. Like for us, the tradition is the night before the first day of school is when we do this tradition. So that's like the most, that's like one of the parts of the tradition. Now there's going to be a shift. It's going to change a little bit. And I've been thinking a lot about how I'm going to make it happen and how am I going to make it special. And what I decided was that I'm going to have School Year's Eve on the night before my son goes away on his retreat for the 3 of them. And it's going to be like the School Year's Eve celebration for all 3 of them. But then on the night before each of their first days of school, I'm going to do something unique and special with just them because I realize that they are growing. And as they grow, the tradition and the ritual sometimes has to adjust and has to change. So I'm exploring that and experimenting with that this month. I will let you know how it goes. I'm very excited about it. But this is the homework for you. What tradition can you begin this year to honor your kids' entry into a new school year? And if you are past the school years and you have college-age kids, well, is there an opportunity to start a tradition with your college-age kids? Or is there an opportunity to start a tradition with a kid that you have influence over and that you want to leave a mark in their lives? These are things for you to consider and play with and be curious and open about in creating an anchor into something that is very significant in a child's life. The school year is very, very significant in a child's life. And then the next question that I have for you is, what does your child need to feel anchored, seen, and supported in the school year? Maybe you get to co-create this experience with them. You get to ask them what they look forward to. Maybe they get to pick their own meal. Maybe they get to set some of the traditions. Maybe they get to participate in the creation of this. Or maybe you can come up with a tradition that is unique to you. There are no rules. There's only principles that we follow and a methodology to creating a life that sparks bliss. And hopefully this will inspire you to start a ritual that can become a tradition that can empower the children in your life to live with intention. That is my hope for you. For those of you who want to start this School Year's Eve tradition, or if you've already started because you've been following me for a long time and you've already adapted this and put this into your rotation, I invite you to share it with our community. Post a photo of your School Year's Eve and tag me at Caroline de Posada on Instagram and use the hashtags Anchor August and School Year's Eve, and let's celebrate together. I will feature you on my stories and we will celebrate your School Year's Eve together in community. Now, I also want to mention that this weekend is your last chance to sign up for the Blissin' Up Hub. The Hub is a 6-month coaching container in which we are gathering for every week on Mondays to coach on topics like this: rhythms, rituals, traditions, living a life of magic, of synchronicity, of foundation and principles. We're going to explore all of my frameworks: core, dare, and live with intention, to really help you build a life that you love, that is meaningful, and that is written beautifully. And at the end of your life is a life of legacy and of joy. That's what I want for you. So this is your invitation to join us. If you have not already joined us, go to the link in the show notes, carolinedeposada.com/hub, and sign up, because this is going to be a sacred time and I look forward to sharing it with you. So that's it for now. Happy Sacred Sunday, and may this be a moment where your family pauses, reflects, and steps into a new season anchored with love and intention. See you next week. That's it for today's episode. Thanks so much for being here. I am deeply, deeply grateful for this time to connect. If you're loving this podcast, I'd love if you could support me by subscribing, rating, and or leaving a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Those reviews help us so much. And if you know of someone who could really use a voice like mine in their head, please share this with them and let them know how much you care about their bliss. Now, if you are feeling called to dig deeper and really work on elevating your mindset, wellness, and your relationships to create a healthier, happier, and more meaningful life, then I invite you to schedule a 60-minute complimentary consultation with me. Let's have a meaningful conversation and see if working together is in our future. You can find the link to the calendar of consults right there in my show notes, but you can also connect with me on my website, carolinedeposada.com, or just send me a DM on Instagram at Caroline de Posada. Like my friend always says, the project is big and you're a part of it. So thanks for being here.